But I found recently that I'm not very good at relaxing. I get quite wound up. I'm on the go all the time. I'm a bit of a workaholic, to be honest. And when I get in from work, wherever I've been, I'm rubbish at that winding down bit before you go to bed. I'm quite interested in how other people relax. Nice fella in the front. Hello, fella. How do you relax when you get in from wherever you spend your days? Is there something that you always do to help you wind down?
Probably sit down, watch TV.
You sit down. That's a good start, isn't it? Just sit down. Oh, I'm relaxed. And you watch a bit of telly. What time do you normally put the telly on?
About 6.
About 6. You see, anything from 6 onwards, it's quite good for a few hours, isn't it? Quite good telly then. When I get in from work, it can be anything from midnight to 4 in the morning. So unless I've remembered to record something, I'm stuck with fucking Babe Station. Babe Station. If you don't know what Babe Station is, it's a soft porn channel where on the screen is a relatively uneducated lady, I'm guessing, and she's on the phone, and across the bottom of the screen is a telephone number that you can ring, presumably to talk to her for sexual reasons, although I don't think there are any rules that say you can't ring her up and chuck her a couple of sums and see how she gets on. I'd probably just give her careers advice, because I used to work for the job centre. I'd be like, oh, you're very good on the phones. You could work for Orange. They're used to people ringing up and moaning. So we've got a bit of telly watching from the fella at the front, thank you very much. What about nice fella there in the nice blue shirt? What would you do to relax?
Take the dog for a walk.
You take the dog for a walk. So is it the exercise or the fresh air or a combination of the two?
Fresh air in London, yeah. It's the
fresh air in London, oh yes, I forgot. Do you have to wear a little mask, do you? No. Do you just go under a certain level and then you're all right? What time do you go walking with a dog? Is it tea time?
4 o'clock.
Tea time?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. The specifics aren't that important, love. We'll come back to me in a minute, don't worry. 3 o'clock, so that's afternoon. Because I used to go, like years ago, I used to go running. I know, fuck off, it's hard to believe. It didn't last very long. But I used to go running around the park, but really early on, because there's a window that you can go, because it has to be before everybody gets up to go to work, because they're the people that point and laugh. But after the dog walkers, because they're always the ones that find the bodies, aren't they? It is, isn't it? It's always that. It's always, oh, found by a dog walker. Thank fuck I went out after them. So we've got a bit of walking the dog. What else do we do to relax? Let's get people shouting out.
Self-gratification.
Okay, do you just tell yourself you're brilliant, or do you have a wank? Because I did a show in Birmingham, and I asked a man there how he relaxed when he got in from work, and he said one word. The beginning of the word sounded really happy, and midway through the word it just changed and sounded desperately sad. I said, how do you relax when you get in from work? And he went, masturbation. I don't find that very relaxing. Am I sharing too much? I don't find masturbation very relaxing because I'm a bugger for multitasking. I've been known to put my tash cream on and go, I've got 5 minutes, I'll have a quick... Make sure you don't mix your hands up, though. And you know what? You get it done on time, because if you don't, you can smell burning flesh. But some people are genuinely appalled by that. And other people are going, that's a really good idea. How else do you relax? Shout out different ways?
Wine.
Well, it was a non-specific amount as well. Wine. I don't really drink very much. Anybody a bit like me doesn't really drink? Yeah. Oh, they sound so sad. We're going to drive these fuckers home tonight. Are we big drinkers? Cheer if you do like a drink, then? Yeah. See, I'm not a very good drinker. I've had some quite bad experiences. I once went out with a friend of mine. She's lovely, but her husband's a little bit iffy. And, yeah, went out for a few drinks. And the next day I was really ill. And I rang her and I said, I've got no idea why I'm this ill. We'd only had like 2 glasses of wine. And she said, oh, that'll be Dave. He will have spiked your drink. I said, really? She said, oh, yeah. He spiked mine once with speed, but I didn't mind so much because I got loads of hoovering done. So we've got telly, we've got drink, and how else do you relax?
Knitting.
Who the fuck are you? Where are you? Knitting. You're from Bolton? Hello. It means nothing to them, but hello. Oh, okay. knit, do you just knit like a big long, I imagine it's just always scarves, or do you knit actual things that you can force onto people as presents? Well done, lady. That's, oh, have you brought it in case you're a little bit bored during the show? Cocks, she's talking about cocks again. So knitting is a good answer. My friend said to me, have a bath. She said, have a bath. It's quite a good way of relaxing. I thought, well, it's quite a good idea. Because I normally have showers. I think showers are more sort of time efficient. But I still buy all the things you're supposed to put in the bath. You know, the lotions and the potions and the bath bombs, all that sort of stuff. My bathroom looks like I've ram-raided Lush. The only time I ever have a bath is when I'm in a hotel, I'm on the road maybe, and I'm in a hotel room, I've got a bit of time to myself. But of course I don't take me lotions and me potions, because you don't, do you? Instead I'm stuck with time, but like an inch of shower gel / shampoo / fucking toothpaste. With which I'm expected to wash a 12-stone woman. I mean me. I don't provide a service. Come on in, Brenda, get on the scales. You're all right, go and get your clothes off. So my friend said have a bath, so I had a bath and it was all right. It's all right. But I thought I better can make this better. So I had a cup of tea in the bath. There's something really satisfying about being the same temperature on the inside as the outside. I was in the bath the other day, I had a cup of tea on the go, had a bath bomb in. We all know what a bath bomb is, it just fizzes around and makes the water all smell nice and feel nice. And my boyfriend was walking past the bathroom door and I shouted to him in and he said, what's the matter? And I said, doesn't it smell nice? And he went, oh, it does smell nice. And I said, feel my arm. And I lifted it out of the water and I went, feel that. And he went, ooh, slimy. So I relaxed for about another 20 minutes and then it was time to get out of the bath. But I still had a little bit of tea left and I thought, I'm not going anywhere till I finish my tea. So I just pulled the plug and let the water all drain out. And I ended up sitting in an empty bath. I felt a little bit beached. But it wasn't altogether a horrible experience. Nobody was like spraying us with water trying to keep us alive. So I finished my tea and as I stood up to get out the bath, a tidal wave of water came from behind me. I was totally confused. I looked at the front and it was empty. I looked behind, still about that much. I'd formed a seal around the bath with me arse.
Hello, I'm Sarah Millican and thanks very much for watching my videos.